An exquisite day, everyone. We are now into the chapter 7 of this course, Purposive Communication, and this is communication for work purposes. While we delve into our topic, communication for work purposes, here are our key terminologies. We have conventional and complementary clause, memorandum, business proposal, problem statement, proposed solution, and LinkedIn. So let's look into written modes of professional communication, how we will be applying all the concepts we've learned in communication during our midterms and in our preliminaries with this register of language written and genres across our profession. So given the fact that you have chosen your career in the field of nursing or in the medical field, still we will observe how to write business letters, memoranda, minutes of the meeting, application letters, and resumes, specifically when you shall be applying for a job. Okay, so what are business letters? Let's first define what are business letters. Business letters, of course, are common forms of writing in any organization. A traditional parts of business letters should be the following. Okay, mostly or commonly, the parts of a business letter would be the heading, the inside address, the salutation, the body of the letter, the complementary clause, and the signature of the one who wrote the letter. Okay, generally, business letter follows a certain format. It depends on a particular organization if they have their organizational format, or in our case we have our institutional format, and there's a need for us to follow or adhere to the following formats given by any of the organization we are linked into, so that we would have a universal format being passed through our communication letters. Okay, and when in a plain bond paper, when we use plain bond paper, the conventional heading includes the address of the writer and the date when the letter was written. Perhaps all of us may observe that we all have our conventional heading, but since we have the advent of technology or the advancement of technology, we may use modern heading. Modern heading uses stationery, where bears company's logo and address or telephone number and other information. Soon enough, I'll be sending an example of a letter or business letter in your group chats. Okay, it is important to include our heading because it has something to do with the illustrations, semiotics included, which are very relevant and very important in a particular organization. The heading is followed by the inside address. Of course, our inside address is our addressee to whom we will be sending the message. Most specifically, if we know for a fact our addressee or our inside address, we would write the whole names or a given name first, with the middle initial and the surname, and of course their extension names or their titles. Okay, then after that would be your greeting or your salutation. Examples would be ma'am or dear ma'am, dear madam, dear sir or sir. Okay, and of course followed by the body of our letter, which should be clear, simple, and not confusing. Okay, that's why there's a need for us to check on the content of our letter. Since this is technical writing, we should look into the technicalities on how we write our sentences, fragments, and phrases and paragraphs, because it speaks about the technicalities, as I've said. So you should be particular with your grammar, proper punctuations, and so forth. Okay, after the body of the letter would be your complementary clause. Okay, your complementary clause, and after your complementary clause, of course, would be your name as the writer, and of course your signature over your printed name, you may also write your position or designation below your name. So that would be the format of a business letter. But let's look into some examples of a business letter. If it is full black, means full black, so we align all our sentences in what do you call this? On the other side or the left side of our our bond paper or our paper. That should be 1 inch left, then half inch in the right for our margin. Okay, we don't have indentation since this is full black. If it's semi-blacked, okay, we have indentions. And we should align the date with our complementary clause with the name and the surname. So, be sending an example of letters full black and semi-black in your GC soon. Okay? Moving on to our, what do you call this? Our memorandum. Memorandum or memos in short term or shorter term is actually used as communication letters still in an organization, which is shortened and abbreviated as memo, which means it must be remembered, or reminders or announcements. And this would just be very short and concise, reminding your constituents of the things to be guided with. So it's very basic. This is our format. We have here if there are memorandum number and series, you may write it on top. And then we have here 2. This speaks about the sendee or the one who will be receiving the communication letter or the memorandum. Then we have here from. This speaks about the sender or the one who will be sending the message or communicating the message. Most of the memorandum is being signed by the sender. Okay, then the date, of course, you should not forget that, and of course your subject or what is the memo all about. Then you would write here the body of the memorandum, as simple as that. Should there be further signatories of your memorandum, you may include it at the bottom of your communication letter. Okay, next would be the minutes of the meeting. The minutes of the meeting, this is actually a record of the highlights or notes of the things you have discussed in a particular discussion, specifically in an organizational discussion or organizational meeting or assembly. So this is our format with regards our minutes of the meeting. We have here, you may include also your conventional or modern heading in your minutes of the meeting alongside with the memorandum. Of course, first thing to do is to put your organization's name, then the date when was the meeting held, and of course you need to enlist the attendees, both of those who are present and of course absent. Okay, you need to look into write in the approval of addenda. Okay, who is the presiding officer who approved the agenda? Do you have quorum? And then you need to review or approval of the minutes of the meeting previously. If there are things to review on the prerequisites, or shall we say the meetings you have had in the past, you may include it there. And then the business arising meeting, you include all the new addenda, write all the highlights there. This is actually a formal format, but we may make it shortcut by means of writing the list of the name of organization, the date, list of attendees, both present and absent, and approval, and then going immediately to the new agenda, and of course adjournment, who adjourned the meeting and who seconded the adjournment, and then signature of those who prepared, the note taker and or the secretary, and approval of the person is occupying on top of the position of the organization, or the chair or the presiding officer. Okay, that's all about our minutes of the meeting. Soon enough, you will be grouped into 5, and then you will be writing a memorandum and minutes of the meeting, and then after that you'll also be writing an application letter in preparation with your job interview alongside a resume. Okay, I would like to give a trivia regarding our topic, communication for work purposes. We have the application LinkedIn as a social networking service which is used for professional networkings. Okay, in here you may send your application letter. Actually, I tried it. You may send your educational background and application letter while seeking for a job. So you may browse LinkedIn or LinkedIn. You may browse LinkedIn, okay, if you would want to. And soon enough, if you will be planning to be employed, you may also navigate LinkedIn. Okay, so that would be some of the things we may apply our concepts in communication when it comes to written purposes, specifically genres across professions. And this is very important because there's a need for us to be adept on with the knowledge and skills about writing, specifically under technical writing, writing a letter, business letter, an application letter, memorandum, or minutes of the meeting. So I hope you learned something on this portion of our discussion. Thank you and goodbye, everyone.